Okay, so we did our presentation on autism spectrum disorder. Autism spectrum disorder, also known as ASD, is a developmental disorder that affects communication and behavior. Although it can be diagnosed at any age, it's called a developmental disorder because symptoms generally appear in the first 2 years of life. Autism is also known as a spectrum disorder because there is a wide variation in the type and severity of symptoms people experience. Some of the signs and symptoms of autism spectrum disorder include difficulty with communication and interaction with other people. This includes making little or inconsistent eye contact and tending not to listen to people, as well as having difficulty with back and forth of conversation, having facial expressions, movements, and gestures that do not match what is verbally being said, and having trouble understanding another person's point of view or being unable to predict or understand other people's actions. In addition to that, another symptom of autism spectrum disorder includes restricted interests and repetitive behaviors, such as repeating words or phrases, having a lasting intense interest in certain topics, such as numbers, details, or facts, or overly focused interests, such as moving objects. In addition to those, getting upset by slight changes in a routine, or being more or less sensitive than other people to sensory input such as light, noise, clothing, or temperature. These are symptoms that hurt the person's ability to function properly in school, work, and other areas of daily life.
Risk factors. Research suggests that genes can act together with influences from the environment to affect development in ways that lead to ASD. Risk factors can include having a sibling with ASD, having older parents, having certain genetic conditions such as Down syndrome, Fragile X syndrome, and Rett syndrome, or having a very low birth weight or also being born prematurely. Sex differences. The male to female ratio is about 4:1, so a male is 4 times more likely to be diagnosed with ASD compared to the female counterpart of 1.
There is no way to prevent autism spectrum disorder, but there are several different treatment options. Early diagnosis and intervention is of the most helpful, and this typically occurs when symptoms are starting to become more evident, so around the age of 2. However, intervention is helpful at any age. It can help to improve behavior, skills, and language development. And although children usually don't outgrow any sort of ASD symptoms, they may learn to function well, and this can help improve their quality of life. One of the greatest controversies regarding ASD is the controversy between vaccines and autism and whether they are related or not. However, research has found no link between vaccines and autism.
When coming up with a care plan, steps can include identifying a diagnosis, establishing spectrum of presentation communication needs and proxy providers, provide the family with resources and patient matched with communication and behavioral needs, make open communication plans with the family, and anticipate necessary testing and eliminate unnecessary testing. This is a video on autism spectrum disorder that we found.
Hey there, welcome to Life Noggin. A lot of people talk about autism, but not everyone understands what it is. Autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, affects how people communicate with and relate to others. This isn't the same as being shy or not knowing what to say. Most people with autism don't understand some of the basic social conventions that others take for granted. They might have trouble making eye contact, holding a conversation, or recognizing gestures. And over 1/3 of people with ASD are nonverbal, meaning they don't use speech. Along with communication issues, people with autism often like to follow certain patterns or repeated behaviors. Many have a sensitivity to bright light or loud noises, and others have physical problems like trouble walking or picking up small objects. Some have intellectual disabilities, but about half have average or above average IQs. It's also common for people with autism to have a great long-term memory for certain details, and many excel in math, science, music, or art. With such a wide variety of symptoms, no two people with ASD are alike. The behaviors vary so much that they used to be classified as different disorders. One was Asperger's syndrome, where people obsess over particular topics, miss nonverbal social cues, and may not understand appropriate social behavior. In 2013, scientists realized that the boundary between Asperger's syndrome and some of the other disorders was fuzzy, so they decided to put them all under one name. This made it easier to diagnose autism, which is important. The younger someone is diagnosed, the earlier they can get help. In fact, many children who have autism will show signs by just 2 years old, including not responding to their name, avoiding eye contact, and flapping their hands or rocking repeatedly. Even though there is no cure for ASD, therapy and medication can help people adjust. Scientists are also doing clinical trials to find other solutions. They've learned that 1 out of every 68 children in the US has the disorder, but they still aren't sure what causes it. Autism is over 4 times more common in boys than girls, and most scientists think genes play a role because it often runs in families. Some people with ASD have abnormal chromosomes, but this can't be the whole story. There are people with the same gene changes who don't have autism. Other possible causes include having older parents, being exposed to high levels of testosterone in the womb, and having complications during pregnancy or birth. It may even have something to do with gut bacteria, since many autistic people have gastrointestinal issues. But most likely, it's a combination of many factors. The one thing scientists know for sure is that vaccines do not cause autism. No matter why it happens, ASD is being diagnosed at a higher rate every year. This doesn't mean it's becoming more common. It just means more people are aware of the condition and getting diagnosed early. And awareness is crucial. The more we learn about autism, the more we can understand and relate to those who have it. It's important to note that people with ASD deserve the same respect, fairness, and chances that people without ASD receive. This will help people with ASD adapt and grow in our communities. We've put some resources in the description if you would like to learn more about ASD and figure out what you can do to help. Is there another disorder or any other topic you would like us to talk about? Let us know in the comments section below. And if you would like to learn more about OCD, we made a video on just that.
On autism spectrum disorder.
Hey there, welcome to Life Noggin.
Alright, and here's our references. And now we're going to play a game of Kahoot.